After 10 years in a coma, I woke up but kept my eyes closed. What I heard my family planning around my hospital bed made me call the police. Hey beautiful souls. Take a second to subscribe, drop a friendly hi in the comments and tell us where you're watching from. Now let's continue the story. Darkness had been my world for what felt like forever, but suddenly something shifted. I could hear the steady beep of machines, the hum of fluorescent lights, distant footsteps in a hallway. My mind clawed through layers of fog, desperate to understand. Where was I? How long had I been here? I tried to open my eyes, but my body wouldn't obey. Panic surged through me until I heard a voice, my mother's voice. She's been like this for 10 years, Mama said, her tone flat and cold. 10 years. My heart, wherever it was in this prison of flesh, seemed to stop. I was 23 when the accident happened. The car crash. I remembered now, the screech of tires, the impact, then nothing. Now I was 33 and I'd missed a decade of my life. The insurance money been sitting there all this time, another voice said. My sister, Keisha. $2 million just waiting. Plus the settlement from the trucking company, Mama added. Another $3 million. $5 million. The words echoed in my mind. My fingers twitched, barely, but they moved. I was waking up. Every instinct screamed at me to open my eyes, to let them know I was here, that I could hear them. But something in their voices, something cold and calculating, made me hesitate. And in that hesitation I heard something that changed everything. So when we pulling the plug? Keisha asked casually, like she was discussing dinner plans. My blood ran cold. Doctor said we can make that decision anytime, Mama responded, and I heard papers rustling. I already got the DNR forms ready. Soon as she's gone, that money transfers to us as next of kin. Her bank accounts, the trust fund Daddy left her, everything. My father. Daddy. Memories flooded back, his warm smile, his laugh, how he'd always called me his little warrior. He died 5 years before my accident, leaving me everything because I was the only one who'd stayed in school, who'd made something of myself. He'd been so proud when I graduated medical school early. I was supposed to start my residency the week after the accident. What about Marcus? A male voice asked. My brother. 3 years older than me, always jealous that Daddy had paid for my education while he'd dropped out. What about him? Keisha snapped. He ain't even been here. He don't get nothing. I'm just saying he might ask questions, Marcus said. You know how he was always protective of Maya back in the day. Maya. My name. Hearing it felt surreal, like they were discussing a stranger. I wanted to scream, to move, to do anything. My right index finger twitched again, stronger this time. I focused all my energy on it, trying to gain control of my own body. Marcus ain't gonna say nothing once we cut him in, Mama said decisively. Give him 200,000, he'll be quiet. He need that money for his legal fees anyway. The casual cruelty in her voice devastated me more than the words themselves. As they continued talking about dividing my death benefits, my mind drifted to better times. I was 7 years old, sitting on Daddy's lap while he read me bedtime stories. You special, Maya, he'd whispered. You got something in you that's gonna change the world. Don't let nobody dim your light, baby girl. Not even family. Even then he'd known. He'd seen how Mama treated me differently, how my siblings resented the attention he gave me. I wasn't planned like they were. Mama had told me once, during an argument, that she'd wanted to give me up for adoption. Daddy had insisted on keeping me, on loving me, on making sure I had every opportunity. You remember when she used to think she was so much better than us? Keisha's voice yanked me back to the present. I'm gonna be a doctor, I'm gonna save lives. Well, look at her now. Can't even save herself. They laughed. All three of them laughed at me lying there helpless. The beeping of my heart monitor increased slightly. I forced myself to calm down, to keep my breathing steady. They couldn't know I was awake. Not yet. I needed to understand what was happening, needed to figure out what to do. When you planning to do it? Marcus asked. This weekend, Mama said. Dr. Davis is on duty. He'll sign off on anything. I already spoke to him, slipped him $5,000 to make sure the paperwork goes through smooth. 4 days. I had 4 days to figure out how to survive my own family. Through the fog of my recovering consciousness, more memories crystallized. I'd been driving home from the hospital after a 36-hour shift during my medical school rotations. I was exhausted, barely keeping my eyes open, but I was so close to achieving my dream. Just 1 more year and I'd be Dr. Maya Thompson. The youngest doctor in our family's history. The first doctor in our family's history. A truck had run a red light. The impact had been instant and catastrophic. I remembered the sensation of flying, of glass shattering, of pain so intense it whited out everything else. Then nothing. 10 years of nothing. 10 years of my family visiting me, pretending to care while secretly waiting for me to die. You think she can hear us? Marcus asked suddenly and my heart rate spiked. Don't be stupid, Keisha snapped. Doctors said she's a vegetable. Brain dead. Ain't nothing going on in there. She just breathing, 'cause the machines make her breathe. But I wasn't on a ventilator. I could feel my own breath moving in and out. They didn't even know the details of my condition. They'd never cared enough to learn. I'm just saying, sometimes I feel like she's watching me, Marcus continued. Like she knows. Boy, you sound crazy, Mama said dismissively. That's guilt talking. You always was soft when it came to Maya. But she don't know nothing and she ain't never gonna know nothing. By Sunday night she'll be cremated and we'll be rich. Cremated. They were going to burn my body, erase any evidence, make sure no one could ever question what they'd done. After they left, I lay in the silence, focusing every ounce of energy on my body. My finger had twitched. That meant the connection between my brain and body wasn't completely severed. I was paralyzed maybe, but not permanently. The neuroplasticity I'd studied in medical school might save my life. The brain could rewire itself, especially after trauma. I just needed time I didn't have. I started with my toes. Left foot first. Nothing. Right foot. A slight sensation like pins and needles. I focused harder, imagining my brain sending signals down my spine through the nerves into the muscle fibers. Hours passed. My right big toe moved. Just barely, but it moved. Progress. A nurse came in to check my vitals. Hey there, sweetheart, she said softly. Her voice was kind, genuine. I'm Nurse Patricia. I've been taking care of you for 3 years now. Your mama and sister were here earlier. They seemed like they were discussing something serious. She paused and I felt her hand on my arm. I don't know if you can hear me, honey, but something don't sit right with me about them. I've worked in hospitals for 25 years and I've seen a lot of families. Most people who visit coma patients, they talk to them, play music, read books. Your family? They just stand around discussing money and looking at their phones. Today was the first time I heard them actually talking about you and it didn't sound loving. Patricia suspected something. Hope flickered in my chest. But how could I communicate with her? I focused on my right hand, the one that had twitched earlier. Move, I commanded it. Move, damn it. My index finger trembled, then lifted slightly off the bed. Oh my God, Patricia whispered. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, try to move that finger again. I gathered every bit of strength and will. My finger moved more deliberately this time. Then down. Once, twice. Sweet Jesus, Patricia breathed. She pressed the call button. Dr. Morrison, you need to come to room 347 immediately. We have responsive movement from the patient. Within minutes, the room filled with medical staff. Dr. Morrison, a middle-aged white man with kind eyes and graying temples, leaned over me. Maya Thompson, if you can hear me, I need you to move that finger again. I did. The room erupted in excited murmurs. Let's run a full neurological assessment, Dr. Morrison ordered. And don't contact the family yet. I want to make sure we understand what we're dealing with first. This is extraordinary. 10 years in a minimally conscious state, and now she's showing purposeful movement. They ran tests. Shining lights in my eyes. I could see the brightness behind my closed lids. Touching different parts of my body, asking me to move corresponding fingers. I couldn't do everything, but I could respond. They discovered I had locked-in syndrome, fully conscious but almost completely paralyzed. Except I was coming out of it, slowly regaining function. This is remarkable, Dr. Morrison said. Her brain scans show significant activity. I believe she's been conscious for some time, possibly days or weeks, and her neural pathways are re-establishing connections. With intensive rehabilitation, she might recover significant function. Should I call her mother? Patricia asked. Let me check her chart first, Dr. Morrison said. Wait. There's a DNR order here filed just today. But the patient is showing clear signs of consciousness and recovery. This doesn't make sense. Dr. Morrison's voice turned serious. Patricia, something's wrong here. Very wrong. This DNR was filed today, but look at the date on the latest brain scan. It's from 3 days ago and it shows normal activity patterns. Someone filed this DNR knowing the patient was potentially conscious. Her mama filed it, Patricia said quietly. She came in this morning with the paperwork. Said she couldn't watch her daughter suffer no more, that it was time to let her go. But doctor, I'm gonna be honest with you. That woman ain't been suffering watching her daughter. She been suffering watching them medical bills, even though the insurance covers everything. How long have you been Maya's nurse? 3 years. And in them 3 years I've seen that family maybe 20 times total. But in the last month, they've been here almost every week. Ever since the insurance company sent that letter about the policy payout, the one that was sitting at the nurse's station by accident. Keisha saw it, asked me questions about it. I thought she was just wanting to understand her sister's care. Now I'm thinking different. Dr. Morrison looked down at me. Maya, I know you can hear me. What I'm about to ask is very important. Blink once for yes, twice for no. Do you want the DNR? Do you want us to let you go? 2 blinks. Strong, deliberate. No. I wanted to live. Do you feel your family has your best interests at heart? 2 blinks. No. Do you feel unsafe? 1 blink. Yes. Dr. Morrison stood up straight. Patricia, we need to contact hospital security and the ethics board immediately. And get me in touch with Adult Protective Services. I believe we have an attempted murder situation here. The words hung in the air like a death sentence, except this time it wasn't mine. It was theirs. Detective James Wilson arrived 3 hours later. He was a tall black man in his 50s with a weathered face and tired eyes that had seen too much. Patricia had called the police directly after Dr. Morrison's assessment, reporting suspected elder abuse. Even though I was only 33, I qualified under dependent adult protection laws due to my condition. Miss Thompson, Detective Wilson said gently, pulling a chair beside my bed. I'm going to ask you yes or no questions. Blink once for yes, twice for no. We'll go slow. Is that okay? 1 blink. Did you hear your family members discussing your death? 1 blink. My heart monitor beeped faster. It's okay, you're safe now, he assured me. Did they discuss financial gain from your death? 1 blink. Did they mention a specific timeline? 1 blink. Was it soon? Within a week. 1 blink. Detective Wilson's jaw tightened. Did they mention this weekend? 1 blink. A tear rolled down my cheek. The first time I'd been able to produce tears since waking up. Did multiple family members participate in this discussion? 1 blink. More than 2 people? 1 blink. He pulled out his phone and made a call. Yeah, it's Wilson. I need surveillance authorization for room 347 at City General. Suspected conspiracy to commit murder. Patient is conscious and has confirmed overhearing plans. I need audio and video and I need it yesterday. Within an hour they'd installed hidden cameras and microphones throughout my room. Dr. Morrison had been magnificent. He'd called Mama and told her there were some complications with my care, that she should come in tomorrow to discuss my treatment plan. It was perfect bait. The next morning Mama arrived with Keisha and Marcus. I kept my eyes closed, my breathing steady, but inside I was a storm of emotions. These were the people who were supposed to love me, protect me. Instead they were planning my murder. What kind of complications? Mama asked Dr. Morrison suspiciously. Her brain activity has been fluctuating, he lied smoothly. Before we proceed with the DNR, I wanted to run a few more tests. It's standard protocol for legal protection. We just want to make absolutely certain that she's not showing any signs of potential recovery. We already decided, Keisha said sharply. The DNR is signed. We pulling the plug this weekend like we planned. I understand your position, Dr. Morrison said carefully. But for the hospital's liability protection we need to run these tests. It'll take a few days. We can schedule the discontinuation of care for Monday instead. After Dr. Morrison left, they gathered around my bed. Detective Wilson was in the next room listening to every word. Something ain't right, Marcus said. Why would they suddenly care about more tests? 'Cause they covering their asses, Mama said dismissively. Hospital don't want no lawsuit. Let them run their little test. Come Monday she's done and we're rich. I already got the funeral home picked out, Keisha said. Cheapest one I could find. Cremation no service. We ain't wasting money on no fancy funeral. Smart, Mama agreed. The less attention the better. People might start asking questions about why we never visited much, why we're suddenly so eager to pull the plug right when she's supposed to get better. She ain't getting better, Marcus said, but his voice wavered. Look at her. She's been like this for 10 years. And she'll be like this forever, Keisha snapped. Stop being soft. This money is ours. Daddy left everything to her because he always thought she was so special, so smart. Well, being smart didn't stop that truck from hitting her, did it? You know what I'm gonna do with my share? Keisha continued, her voice dripping with venom. I'm gonna buy that boutique downtown, the one Maya always said she wanted to open after she became a doctor. She had all these big dreams. Open a practice, give back to the community, help people. Well, I'm gonna help myself instead. Something inside me shattered. It wasn't just about the money or the betrayal. It was about them taking pleasure in destroying my dreams, in mocking everything I'd worked for. I'd spent my entire life trying to make Daddy proud, trying to prove that his faith in me wasn't misplaced. And these people, my own blood, were laughing at my expense. My hand twitched violently. Did you see that? Marcus asked, stepping back. See what? Mama moved closer. Her hand moved. Boy, that's just muscle spasms, Keisha said. Dead people do that all the time. She ain't dead yet, Marcus said quietly. Might as well be, Mama said coldly. Then she did something that made Detective Wilson burst into the room minutes later. She leaned close to my ear and whispered, I never wanted you anyway. You were Daddy's favorite, his precious little Maya. Well, guess what? He's dead and soon you will be too. And I'm gonna spend every penny of your money with a smile on my face. My eyes snapped open. Mama stumbled backward, screaming. Keisha grabbed the bed rail. Marcus froze, his face pale. Hello, Mama, I whispered, my voice hoarse from disuse. Surprise. The door burst open. Detective Wilson, Dr. Morrison, Patricia, and 2 uniformed officers flooded in. Nobody move, Detective Wilson ordered. You're all under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder. The next hours were chaos. Mama screamed about patient rights and false accusations. Keisha tried to run but was caught at the elevator. Marcus just stood there, tears streaming down his face, whispering, I'm sorry, over and over. I almost felt bad for him. Almost. But he'd been willing to let me die for $200,000. That knowledge killed whatever sympathy I had left. They played the recordings. Every word, every casual discussion of my death, every plan to divide my money. The audio was damning. The video showed them standing around my supposedly comatose body, discussing murder like it was a business transaction. The prosecutor called it one of the most clear-cut cases she'd ever seen. But the hardest part wasn't their arrest. It was learning the full truth. Detective Wilson uncovered that they'd been stealing from me for years. Small amounts at first. A few thousand here and there from my account, carefully doctored statements. Then larger sums. They'd forged my signature on documents, taken out credit cards in my name, borrowed against my trust fund. By the time I woke up, they'd stolen nearly $400,000. And the accident? It hadn't been an accident at all. Marcus finally broke during interrogation. He'd tampered with my car's brakes 2 days before the crash. He'd meant to scare me, to make me drop out of medical school and come back home where they could control me. He hadn't meant to put me in a coma. The truck running the red light had been pure chance, but my inability to stop because my brakes failed, that was on him. "I'm sorry," he sobbed during his confession. "I'm so sorry, Maya. Mama kept saying you thought you were better than us, that you were taking all of Daddy's attention and money. I just wanted to teach you a lesson. I never wanted this. I never wanted any of this." But he'd been willing to finish the job. That's what I couldn't forgive. He'd had 10 years to confess, to feel guilty. He'd only felt guilty when he got caught. Physical therapy was grueling. My muscles had atrophied after 10 years of minimal use. Every movement was agony, every step a battle. But I'd survived my family's murder plot. I could survive this. Dr. Sarah Chin, my rehabilitation specialist, was patient and encouraging. She was a second-generation immigrant whose parents had come to this country with nothing, and she saw in me the same determination she'd seen in them. "You're remarkable," she told me one day, 6 weeks into therapy. "I've never seen anyone progress this fast. Most people with your condition need years to regain basic mobility. You're already walking with assistance." "I'm motivated," I said simply. The truth was, I was furious. Fury was better than any physical therapy. Every time I wanted to quit, I remembered Keisha's laugh, Mama's cold whisper, Marcus's betrayal. I remembered them standing over my bed, planning my death. And I pushed harder. The legal proceedings moved forward. Mama, Keisha, and Marcus were all charged with conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, elder abuse, and theft. Marcus faced additional charges for the brake tampering that had caused my accident. Their lawyers tried every trick, questioning my memory, suggesting the coma had damaged my brain, claiming the recordings were taken without consent. None of it worked. The evidence was overwhelming. What surprised me most was the outpouring of support from people I barely remembered. My old medical school classmates created a fundraiser for my rehabilitation. The hospital staff became my surrogate family. Patricia checked on me every day, even when she wasn't assigned to my floor. Dr. Morrison advocated tirelessly for my continued care. And then there was David. Dr. David Martinez, a neurologist who'd been consulted on my case. He was brilliant, kind, and treated me like a person, not a patient. We talked for hours about everything and nothing. Medicine, music, life, loss. "You're going to be okay," he told me one evening. "Better than okay. You're going to be extraordinary." "I don't feel extraordinary," I admitted. "I feel broken. Broken things heal stronger," he said softly. "You're proof of that." The trial lasted 3 weeks. I testified from a wheelchair, my voice steady despite the tremors in my hands. I looked each of them in the eye, Mama, Keisha, Marcus, and told the jury everything. The courtroom was silent except for my voice and the occasional sob from Marcus. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. Mama got 25 years. Keisha got 20. Marcus got 30 because of the brake tampering. They'd be old when they got out, if they got out. Part of me felt relief. But mostly I felt empty. These were the people who were supposed to love me. Instead, they tried to kill me twice. After the sentencing, I went to the cemetery where Daddy was buried. It was the first time I'd been there since before the accident. David pushed my wheelchair. I could walk short distances now, but the cemetery was large and I tired easily. "Hey, Daddy," I whispered, touching his headstone. "I did it. I survived. I know you'd be proud of me, but I also know you'd be heartbroken about what they did. I'm sorry I couldn't protect your family. I'm sorry they turned out like this." Tears streamed down my face. Cleansing tears, healing tears. "I'm going back to medical school. Dr. Chin thinks I can do it, thinks I can finish my residency. It'll take time and it'll be hard, but I'm not giving up on our dream. I'm going to be Dr. Maya Thompson just like I promised you. And I'm going to help people, real people who need it. I'm going to be the person you always believed I could be." David squeezed my shoulder gently. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the graves. Somewhere in the distance a bird sang. Life continued despite everything. Despite the betrayal, despite the loss, despite the pain. I was 33 years old. I'd lost 10 years of my life. But I'd gained something too. Clarity about who truly mattered, strength I never knew I had, and a second chance that most people never get. As David wheeled me back to the car, I looked back at Daddy's grave one last time. "Thank you for never giving up on me," I whispered. "Even when everyone else did." The thing about betrayal is that it doesn't just break your heart. It breaks your understanding of the world. But the thing about survival is that it rebuilds you stronger than before. I'd lost my family, but I'd found myself. And sometimes that's the only family you really need. If you're facing betrayal from people you love, know this: your worth isn't defined by how others treat you. Your dreams aren't diminished by those who don't believe in them. And sometimes the family you choose is more powerful than the family you're born into. Stand up for yourself. Protect yourself. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one who will be there for yourself forever. 6 months later, I walked into my first day back at medical school without assistance. It was the proudest moment of my life. Not because I'd survived, but because I'd decided that surviving wasn't enough. I was going to thrive. And I was going to do it on my own terms. If this story touched you, please like, subscribe, and share your own stories of overcoming betrayal in the comments below. Remember, you are stronger than you know, and your story isn't over yet. The best chapters are still to come.